The first words you speak in the morning are not just words, they are instructions to your mind. Before the world tells you who you are, before your problems remind you of your struggles, before your fears start whispering about what you cannot do, there is a small moment every single day where you have the power to decide what kind of person you will become. That moment is when you wake up. Think about this for a moment. Every morning, millions of people open their eyes, but they wake up defeated before their feet even touch the ground. They reach for their phones before they reach for their purpose. They check the world before they check themselves. They allow yesterday's failures, yesterday's disappointments, yesterday's mistakes, and yesterday's regrets to become the first voices they hear. And then they wonder why they feel powerless. Let me tell you something. Your life does not change when your circumstances change. Your life changes when the conversation inside your mind changes. The person who wins the battle of the morning often wins the battle of the day, because every day is built from moments. Every achievement, every failure, every success story, every transformation begins with small decisions repeated consistently. A person does not wake up one day and suddenly become successful. A person becomes successful because for years they had conversations with themselves that created discipline, courage, confidence, and belief. The greatest influence you will ever have in your life is the voice you listen to when nobody else is around. I learned something years ago. Most people are waiting for someone else to believe in them. They are waiting for a teacher, a friend, a partner, a leader, or a stranger to come along and tell them, you can do this. But the people who transform their lives eventually discover something powerful. The first person who must believe in your future is you. Because if you cannot see the possibility, you will never have the courage to pursue it. Your mind is like a garden. Every morning, you are given the opportunity to plant seeds. The question is not whether you are planting seeds. The question is, what kind of seeds are you planting? Are you planting fear? Are you planting doubt? Are you planting excuses? Or are you planting confidence, discipline, gratitude, and determination? Because whatever you repeatedly plant in your mind will eventually grow into your reality. Here's what most people don't understand. They think success begins with action, but action begins with identity. Before you change what you do, you must change who you believe you are. A person who believes they are weak will find reasons to avoid challenges. A person who believes they are capable will search for solutions. A person who believes they are a victim will blame circumstances. A person who believes they are responsible will create opportunities. The difference is not always talent. The difference is often the story they tell themselves every single day. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, before you look at your problems, before you look at your responsibilities, before you look at what is missing in your life, look within yourself and speak words that strengthen your spirit. Tell yourself, I am capable of becoming better than I was yesterday. Not because everything is perfect. Not because life is easy. Not because you have no struggles. But because growth was never created by comfort. The strongest people you admire today were not built during easy seasons. They were built during moments when quitting would have been easier. They were built when nobody was watching. They were built when they had every reason to stop, but they decided to continue. Think about every successful person you admire. Behind every achievement is a story nobody saw. Behind every confident person is a chapter where they doubted themselves. Behind every victory is a season where they had to fight. The world sees the results. The world does not always see the sacrifices. The world sees the person standing on the mountain. The world does not always see the person climbing through the darkness. But that climb is where character is created. That struggle is where strength is developed. That pressure is where diamonds are formed. Let me tell you about a person who discovered this truth. There was an ordinary man who spent years believing that his circumstances controlled his future. He looked at successful people and thought they were simply lucky. He believed opportunities belonged to other people. He believed his past mistakes had already decided his future. Every morning he woke up with the same thoughts. I am behind. I am not good enough. I missed my chance. And slowly, without realizing it, those thoughts became his identity. But one day he made a decision. He decided that before changing his job, before changing his income, before changing his external world, he needed to change the world inside his mind. So every morning he began with a simple practice. He looked at himself and said, my past is a lesson, not a life sentence. At first, he did not believe it. The words felt uncomfortable. The mind has a strange habit of resisting change. It prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. But he continued, day after day, morning after morning. He repeated the words until the voice of possibility became louder than the voice of fear. Slowly, his actions changed. When opportunities appeared, he stopped running from them. When challenges arrived, he stopped seeing them as punishment. He started learning, he started improving, he started taking responsibility. And years later, people called him successful. But success did not begin the day. People noticed him. Successes began the day he changed the conversation he had with himself. That is the power of your morning words. They are not magic. They do not replace hard work. They do not remove obstacles, but they prepare your mind to face obstacles with strength, because your mindset determines your response, and your response determines your results. The first thing you must tell yourself every morning is, I choose responsibility, because responsibility is the doorway to freedom. Many people want a better life, but they want someone else to create it. They want better results without better habits. They want success without sacrifice. They want confidence without courage. They want change without discomfort. But life does not work that way. The person who takes responsibility takes control. The moment you stop blaming everyone and everything outside yourself, you reclaim your power. You cannot control everything that happens to you. You cannot control every person. You cannot control every situation. But you can control your attitude. You can control your effort. You can control your choices. You can control what you do next. And sometimes the most powerful sentence you can say in the morning is, my future depends on the decisions I make today. Because your future is not created someday. Your future is being created right now. Every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every book you read is a vote. Every workout you complete is a vote. Every promise you keep to yourself is a vote. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are casting a vote for your future self. People underestimate small actions. They think transformation requires one giant moment. But most transformations happen quietly. A person reads 10 pages every day. A person saves a small amount of money every week. A person practices a skill every morning. A person chooses better thoughts consistently. And after months and years, the results become impossible to ignore. This is the compound effect of life. Small choices multiplied by time create extraordinary results. The same way small negative choices can destroy a future, small positive choices can build one. A person does not destroy their health from one unhealthy meal. A person does not destroy their career from one lazy day. But repeated patterns create destinations. Your habits are taking you somewhere. The question is, do you like the direction they are taking you? Because every morning gives you another opportunity to adjust your path. Tell yourself, I am becoming the person I was meant to become. Not tomorrow, not next year, today, right now, because the person you want to become is built by the actions you take today. You see, there is a difference between dreaming about a better life and preparing yourself for a better life. Dreams are beautiful. Dreams give us hope. But discipline gives dreams a foundation. Without discipline, dreams remain wishes. With discipline, dreams become plans. With consistency, plans become reality. And this is where most people separate themselves, not because they have more intelligence, not because they have fewer problems, but because they continue when others stop. They understand something important. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is a decision. You cannot always feel inspired. You cannot always feel excited. You cannot always feel confident. But you can always choose. You can choose to take the next step. You can choose to keep your promise. You can choose to become stronger. And every morning you should remind yourself, I do not need to feel ready. I need to be willing. Because waiting until you feel ready is one of the biggest traps in life. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect confidence. But the perfect moment rarely arrives. You create confidence by acting. You create opportunities by moving. You create strength by facing challenges. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward while fear is present. And every morning you have a choice. Will you feed your fear, or will you feed your faith? Will you focus on your limitations, or will you focus on your possibilities? Because whatever you focus on grows. Your attention is your energy. Your thoughts are your direction. Your actions are your destination. Your attention is your energy. Your thoughts are your direction. Your actions are your destination. And this is why the words you speak to yourself every morning matter more than most people realize. Because before you achieve anything in the outside world, you must first win the battle happening inside your own mind. There is a war that nobody sees, a silent battle between the person you have been and the person you are capable of becoming. And every morning, that battle begins again. The old version of you says, stay comfortable, stay where you are, do not take risks, do not change. This is who you are. But the future version of you is waiting for a different decision, a decision that says, I am not finished. I am still growing. I can become better. I can learn. I can improve. I can build a life that reflects my potential. Let me tell you something. The greatest prison in life is not always a physical prison. Sometimes the greatest prison is a belief you have accepted about yourself. A belief that says you are too old. A belief that says you are too far behind. A belief that says you do not have enough talent. A belief that says your past is stronger than your future. And if you believe those thoughts long enough, you start living according to them. You stop trying. You stop creating. You stop searching. Not because you are incapable, but because you have convinced yourself that you are. That is why the conversation you have with yourself every morning is so powerful. Because every morning you are either strengthening your chains or breaking them. Every morning you are either becoming smaller or becoming stronger. Think about this for a moment. A person who wakes up every day telling themselves, I cannot, will eventually find evidence to support that belief. But a person who wakes up saying, I will find a way, begins searching for possibilities. The circumstances may be the same. The challenges may be the same. The obstacles may be the same. But the person facing them has changed. And when the person changes, everything begins to change. The first battle of success is not against the world. The first battle is against the excuses you have repeated so many times that they started sounding like truth. I do not have enough time. I will start next week. I am waiting for the right moment. I am not ready yet. These sentences have destroyed more dreams than failure ever has. Because failure teaches you. Failure gives you information. Failure shows you where you need to improve. But excuses keep you trapped. Failure says, try again with more wisdom. Excuses say, never try again. And the difference between people who transform their lives and people who stay stuck is often simple. One group learns from pain. The other group runs from it. Here is what most people don't understand. Pain is going to visit you either way. The question is not whether you will experience difficulty. The question is whether your difficulty will build you or break you. The person who avoids all discomfort today often creates greater suffering tomorrow. The person who accepts discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. This is one of the greatest truths of life. Short-term comfort often creates long-term pain. Short-term sacrifice often creates long-term freedom. The person who refuses to study because studying is uncomfortable may struggle later. The person who refuses to exercise because exercise is difficult may suffer later. The person who refuses to control their spending because discipline feels restrictive may lose opportunities later. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret can last for years, and regret is a heavy weight to carry. There is a different kind of pain that comes from knowing you could have done more, knowing you had potential but never developed it, knowing you had dreams but never gave them a chance, knowing you had opportunities but you were too afraid to step forward. That is a pain many people discover too late, because one day you realize something: time does not negotiate. Time does not wait. Time does not care about your excuses. Every sunrise is a gift, but every sunset is a reminder that one more day has passed. So when you wake up, tell yourself, I will not waste the opportunity of today. Not because today must be perfect. Not because you must accomplish everything, but because every day is a building block. You are building something. You are building your character. You are building your reputation. You are building your future, and every choice matters. A person who wants to become strong does not wait for a perfect training day. They train on ordinary days. A person who wants to become successful does not only work when they feel motivated, they work when they feel tired. A person who wants a better life does not only make good decisions when life is easy. They make good decisions when life is challenging. That is where identity is created. Anyone can be disciplined when everything is going well. But who are you when things become difficult? Who are you when nobody is encouraging you? Who are you when nobody is watching? That person is the person you are becoming. Because character is not built in public. Character is built in private moments. The moments where you have a choice. The alarm rings. Nobody would know if you stayed in bed. The temptation appears. Nobody would know if you gave in. The opportunity comes. Nobody would know if you walked away. But you know, and every time you keep a promise to yourself, something powerful happens. You begin trusting yourself. And self-trust is one of the foundations of success. Many people want confidence, but confidence is not something you simply think your way into. Confidence is evidence. Confidence comes from keeping promises. Confidence comes from doing difficult things. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can rely on yourself. When you say you will wake up early and you wake up early, you build confidence. When you say you will learn and you learn, you build confidence. When you say you will improve and you improve, you build confidence. You are sending a message to your own mind. I am a person who does what I say. And that message changes everything. Because the relationship you have with yourself determines every other relationship in your life. If you cannot respect your own commitments, how can you expect yourself to create extraordinary results? If you constantly betray your own goals, how can you trust yourself with bigger opportunities? Success is not just about achieving more. Success is becoming someone who is capable of achieving more. That is the transformation. The goal is not only the destination, the goal is the person you become while traveling there. I remember a lesson from a mentor who once said, do not only ask what you want to have, ask who you need to become to have it. That question changes everything, because a person who wants financial success must become more disciplined with money. A person who wants a healthy body must become more disciplined with choices. A person who wants meaningful relationships must become more understanding, patient, and responsible. The life you want requires a version of you that is ready to handle it. You cannot build a powerful future with a weak mindset. You cannot create extraordinary results with ordinary habits. And you cannot expect your life to change if you continue thinking, acting, and choosing the same way. Growth requires a new version of you. And every morning is an invitation to create that version. So speak to yourself with purpose. Tell yourself, I am responsible for my growth, because nobody can grow for you. People can inspire you. People can guide you. People can support you. But nobody can take your steps for you. Nobody can read the books for you. Nobody can develop your discipline for you. Nobody can build your character for you. That responsibility belongs to you. And that is not a burden. That is power. Because if the responsibility belongs to you, then the possibility also belongs to you. You have more control than you realize. Your next decision matters. Your next habit matters. Your next hour matters. The person you become 5 years from now is watching what you do today. Imagine meeting yourself 5 years from now. Imagine standing face to face with that future version of you. What would they say? Would they thank you for the choices you made? Would they thank you for staying committed when things were difficult? Would they thank you for believing when nobody else believed? Or would they ask you why you ignored the opportunities you were given? That future conversation is being created right now. Every morning you are writing a letter to your future self. Every habit is a sentence. Every decision is a paragraph. Every day is another page. And the question is, what story are you writing? So what will you choose? Will you continue living the same day again and again, hoping that somehow your life will change? Or will you make a decision today that the person you become tomorrow will be different from the person you were yesterday? Because your destiny is not created in one giant moment. It is created in the small moments nobody sees. The moment you choose discipline when comfort is calling your name. The moment you choose learning when distraction is easier. The moment you choose courage when fear is louder. The moment you choose yourself when the world has forgotten to believe in you. That is where your future is born. Not someday. Not when everything becomes perfect. Not when you finally have enough money, enough confidence, enough support, or enough time. Your life begins changing the moment you decide that your excuses are no longer stronger than your dreams. Let me tell you something. There will come a day when you will look back at this chapter of your life. You will remember the mornings when you had a choice. You will remember the moments when you could have given up. You will remember the days when nobody was cheering for you. And the question is not whether those difficult moments will come. They will come. The question is, who will you be when they arrive? Will you be the person who runs away from challenges? Or will you be the person who looks at challenges and says, this is the moment that builds me? Because the greatest victories in life are not created by people who never struggled. They are created by people who struggled and refused to surrender. People who fell and stood again. People who failed and learned again. People who were rejected and continued again. People who were tired but kept moving. People who had every reason to quit but found one reason to continue. And that one reason was their belief that their future was worth fighting for. Your future is worth fighting for. The dreams inside your heart are worth fighting for. The person you know you can become is worth fighting for. Do not let a temporary emotion destroy a permanent opportunity. Do not let one bad day convince you that you have a bad life. Do not let one failure convince you that you are a failure. A chapter is not the entire story. A mistake is not your identity. Your past is not your prison. Your past is your teacher. Take the lesson. Take the wisdom. Take the strength. But never give your past the authority to decide your future. Because there is something powerful waiting on the other side of your consistency. There is a version of you that you have not met yet. A stronger version, a wiser version, a more disciplined version. A version who wakes up with purpose. A version who keeps promises. A version who no longer needs approval because they finally understand their own value. But that person is not created by wishing. That person is created by action. One decision, one habit, one morning, one step, repeated again and again until transformation becomes inevitable. You do not need to change your entire life in one day. You need to change the direction of your life today. A small step in the right direction, repeated consistently, can take you farther than 1,000 moments of temporary motivation. Remember this. The person who improves 1% every day is becoming unstoppable because greatness is not built overnight. Greatness is built in the ordinary days. The days when nobody notices. The days when progress feels invisible. The days when you have to remind yourself why you started. Those days are not interruptions. Those days are the training ground. That is where your character is created. That is where your discipline is tested. That is where your future is shaped. So, tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, do not begin your day by asking, why is my life so difficult? Ask yourself, what can I do today to become stronger? What action can I take today that my future self will thank me for? What promise can I keep today that will build my confidence? Because every sunrise is another opportunity, another chance, another beginning, another invitation to become the person you were always capable of becoming.